I'm here with Brian Fiore of Wendigo Publishing. They're having a joint venture with Jester's Hand to bring this game, Microvores, to the world. So give us a quick idea of sort of what game this is. What kind of game is it?
Okay, Microvores, it's a 2 to 4 player action strategy game. And in this one, you assume the role of a microorganism, such as a bacteria, paramecium, amoeba. And you have a metabolism every round that you got to pay food, or you got to cannibalize parts of your body. And then the drift comes along and deposits toxins and food particles and special particles. And then you basically you have 4 actions that you can choose from during your turn, where you can walk around, you can eat the food, avoid the toxins, grab the special particles whenever possible, and you can even attack your opponents. There's basically 2 win conditions. You can either eliminate an opponent, or you can begin the game with 5 of your kind on the board. So the other type of actions you can do is once you accumulate enough food, you can spend it to buy evolution cards, which give you special abilities that can either increase your movement further, give you better attacks, all kinds of things. And then there's also, you can mutate as another type of action, which is a more linear progression, a little bit less random. But that expands the amount of evolution cards you can hold, increases your base damage, and even adds some healing element to the game as well. And then finally, you can also subdivide, and that's one of the win conditions. So when you begin your turn and you've got 5 of your kind on the board, you would win. And so subdivisions, so you can win by multiplication or by elimination of your opponent. So that's just a pretty good general overview.
All right. Would you be able to give us sort of in more detail, kind of almost an example round,
Sure.
I guess, of the game?
Okay. So basically every player would start off with 6 food. So I'm just going to show you an example of one turn here. So you would just place your token counter here. And let's say everybody was already placed on the board for the beginning of their turn. The very first decision I have to make is I have to pay my metabolism, which is 1 food, or I have to take 1 damage. Well, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and pay the 1 food. So I just turn it like that. Then the drift phase comes along, and we have to determine a random placement of food on the board. So what we do is we would roll the dice here, and this would be, the yellow dice is quadrant 3, so we would know we're going to place it here in the virus quadrant. And then this here is you would look at these 2 dice as the 10s column and a 1s column. So that would be 42, not 6. So 42 would be this space right over here, and then you would do the spinner. And this will determine what type of particles you're going to place down. In this case, it's just going to be 2 food. So you would just take your two particles, 2 arrows here, and place it in the number 42. And so after a while, after turn by turn, you could have an entire maze of food and toxins laid out on the board that you got to try to navigate. Then you decide it's your action phase, so you can do 4 different things. You can either hunt and gather, which is where you move and eat. And so let's say instead of moving and eating, I'm going to actually evolve. So I'm going to spend 3 of my food here. You just turn there, and then you would draw 2 cards, choose whichever ability you like best, and then discard the other one. And it just so happens I did not shuffle very well, but they're 2 of the same. So I would discard 1, and I would take chlorophyll. So this one will actually give me 2 additional food during my metabolism phase. So it makes it a little bit easier to make that decision, whether to cannibalize or to pay my metabolism fee. And then that's after my main action, and then that's it for that turn. Then we pass to the next player, and then they would go through metabolism or cannibalism, add the drift, and then they choose their action.
Wow, it actually seems pretty simple.
It's pretty quick. The game on average takes about 45 minutes. I've seen it play as quick as 30 minutes, and then it can go up to an hour. It all depends on the style of play of the players. If they're super aggressive, it can be pretty quick. If everyone likes to just do their own thing, hunt and grab food, and it can take a little bit longer, but it's up to the players, and it plays differently almost every time.
So how many players does this support?
2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Yep.
Are there just these 4 different types to start with in the game?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yes, there are these 4, and it's mainly just an artistic thing. Whichever type you are doesn't have a specific advantage or anything like that.
So I actually see on the little thing there that this is a Kickstarter game. Is this on Kickstarter now, or is it coming?
Not yet. Probably by the end of this month. We're looking to get it up on Kickstarter. If not by the end of this month, then sometime the beginning of August. So.
Okay. So what we're looking at here, is this sort of like a rough and dirty prototype, or is this actually sort of what the game's going to look like?
For the most part, there will be a couple of upgrades that will take place during the Kickstarter campaign and during stretch goals. But no, the way that this game is actually set up is it uses a patented process system called Insert Imagination, and it's a series of plastic vesicles in which you can slide in the graphic media inserts. So it's great for prototypers, self-publishers, and prototyper self-publishers, and people who just want to make their own games and stuff as well. So you can see here the cards slide into the pawns. The spinners, if you wanted to change out, you could just slide in and slide it out. The game board tiles you can actually slide them right out as well. So it's great for a great way to produce alternate artwork and stuff down the line, or special editions and that kind of thing.
How quickly would you expect this game to come out after the Kickstarter finishes?
Pretty quickly. I plan on self-assembling, assembling and manufacturing the game myself, so all the materials can be acquired domestically, and it's not going to be the normal 90-day lead time when you have to send stuff overseas and get it back. So probably after the Kickstarter finishes, maybe within 30 days, I could start having the first copies being mailed out.
Wow, that's a really fast turnaround for a Kickstarter. So this is actually a really unique kind of theme. You never see things go down as small as bacteria. What inspired you to actually do this theme?
Well, two things. My wife's a veterinary surgeon, and so she's always has like microbiology books and anatomy physiology books laying around. So I try to base all of the abilities and everything out of something actually out of the textbook. So there's some education element here. But I've always been terrified of science realism, not so much science fantasy, because these things actually exist. I mean, there's all kinds of parasites, viruses, bacteria, and all that stuff. You can't see them, but they're just as deadly. And if you try to put yourself into the world, like what would it be like to be a bacteria or a virus? You have no eyes, but you can sense something's after you or something's trying to attack you, because you have responses where you can attack back, or you can fly, try to get away, or you can, you can sense food and stuff. So it's just something that I think about, and it's just kind of mind blowing. So
very cool. Well, that is Microvores, and this is Brian Fiore again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.